Now we move to the creating, adding the camera to our scene and animating the camera and animating the camera, then rendering out our scene. So that's where we are now. So, but before then, just be aware of this: the fact that now I'm scrolling through this timeline based on the little animation that I have here. I've gone ahead to change this. Yes, before this wasn't white, but I've changed it to the white one here, and I've also changed some of the images here. So that's just something to be aware of. Then before we also bring in our camera, let me add, because I deliberately did this insertion here in order to just give some visual interest. So with this now we can add emission, just like, so we can have this selected, have here, select this space. I think I need all of this. Where is it? Yeah, then Alt click, and I'm on my face mode here. On face mode, I think I can add this one too. Shift Alt click. No, this is not what I want. So holding Alt click on this, then Shift click to add. So I also just hold Shift and Alt to add this other one now. So it's selected. I'm clicking it again. So the bottom one here too. Maybe I can do the one for the top here. You know what? Forward slash to just isolate this. Now it can allow me to do this. Now I want to select the one on that too. So holding Shift and Alt, click this to all everything inside here now is now selected. So I want to give it the emission material. So remember, so this wood texture is acting on all over the whole of this material, right? But we want to give it another one. So we just need to create on this, click on this slot here. So for now, this is just empty. So we now need to, before, we need to click on new, then change the change it from principal BSDF to emission. But since we already have an emission here already, it makes more sense for us to extract the emission. And to do that, we come here. So we don't need to click new again. We're not creating new since we already have a material that we want to take from. So there's this emission box. So we want it to also emit something similar to this, which is coming from this emission box. The one we applied to the one here. So we click on this now. So this is also applied to this. So I'm hitting forward slash again to come out of the, the local mode for this. Then you can see it's automatically added to all of this because this object here was actually clone, is a clone to this. I did Alt D for all of this. So whatever changes I do here affects, gets transferred to these other legs. So for camera animation, now this is a visual guide of what we're about to do, about the process we're about to create, how to create this camera. So there is a null object, empty. So this is an empty, this is an empty, then this is a camera. So this is so this is what is one. This is like the grandparent that will be controlling the camera. Then this is the parent to the camera. Then this is the camera now is a child to this and this. Now this will all make sense, but just have this as a visual guide. It will help you to understand more where and the major movement should happen when we start animating. This one, the major its movement should be on rotation Z, this one rotation X, and this one position Y. Now all of this will make sense now when I do this. So the first thing I need to do I need to have my pivot point so that whatever I'm adding will come to the middle of the scene. So I can hit numpad 7 to be in top view, then shift left click, no, right click rather, shift right click to something close to this, like something very close to the middle as much as possible. It doesn't have to be like exact 100%. So once I have that established, then I come to front view. So once I ensure I'm in front view, ensure you're in front view by hitting numpad 1 to be in front view, then shift A, come to camera, hit camera. So it brings this. Now, if by peradventure yours is added into one of these, again, what you need to do is hit numpad period key to locate it wherever it is. Or once it's selected here, just hit M. The option to create a new collection comes. Click new collection, give that camera. So it's once you say okay, it adds it into this. So it creates a collection called camera. So something I usually love to do is to raise all of this up. So I'm selecting this, I'm selecting the camera, the lights, so I'm raising all of them up this way. I usually like to have them to be the first in there. And I can even create a new collection. So I can just create a new collection here. I can just name it to anything, but I just name this main. And then this should work, right? Let me try this. Then drag all of them inside here. Yes, so I have them as the main thing here. So this is for camera and light. So once we have this now, so right now this is what we have. The camera is seated in the middle of where we added our anchor point, which is more of like something very close to the middle of our scene. So we can now remember the major thing here is to move this on the Y, just on the Y position. So you can come here. Now this is the Y, or you can come to the object property here, just move it on Y and move it back this way. Just move it back. You can see it's facing the distance, and now it's facing directly opposite of the front of your scene, because when we added it, we ensure that we're in front view, so it's facing directly the front view. So once that is done and our pivot point is still here, I think I can drag it back a little bit more. Then our pivot point is still here. Then still in this camera collection, hit shift A, then come to empty. Under empty, add sphere. So it adds this close to this now. So you can scale this down a little bit more like this, something like this. Then still have it here. Then since we scale it down, Control A, apply scale, then Shift D to duplicate it, escape, then raise this one up to something like this, like to the top of your scene, to something like this. Like this is like the top of my scene, like top of my scene. So once I have this one on the top now, name it main 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 cam control. Then this one, just name it cam control. Cam control. Then this is our camera. So for this camera now, drag it, you know what, for this cam control, drag it, hold shift, pressing down shift, then drag it into this main cam control. So once it's here now, it's now a child here. So now drag this one inside this cam control, drag the camera, holding shift and click and drag inside cam. So right now, once it's parenting now, we've parented this camera into this cam control, and before then we've created cam control inside main cam control. So with this selected, so once you hover your mouse here, once you hover your mouse around this side here, hit numpad 0 to jump into the camera view. So now you can see this is what will be rendered anytime we want to render. Anytime we come to this render now and click render, this is the place that we okay. Let me even just do that. Render. You can see, so you can see what is seen just here. So this is like still looking at the floor line. So we can either raise it here. I think it's more appropriate to even raise it somewhere here. But this one should be where you want your eye level to be in your scene. Hitting number 3 to be just be in right view. So this should be like your eye level in your scene. I think this is okay for my eye level. Then yeah, I think this is okay for my eye level. So we have our camera set and rigged. Then this one, but the camera itself, remember for the camera, just focus on just moving it on the y-axis. So with this, you can see it allows you to zoom in and out. With this, allows you to zoom in and out. Then for the cam control, this is the cam control. You can see on X rotation. So that enables us to do this to like this is pan, right? Up, right? Then for this one, so I want to take this back to 0. Then for the main cam control, we rotate it on the Z. So if you want to go this way, so it's good for you to know which one specifically, assign each to the type of, so that when you start animating, with that done now, what I have in mind is that we can start like this now. Once I have this selected, now this is, we can start something, can rotate this on X. Let's say it starts from something like this here up this way, start up this way. So it starts up this way like this. I think this is okay. Yeah, something like this at the beginning. So I now need to take my playhead, my CTI called current time indicator. This now, I now need to take it down here to 0 or to 1, whichever, or 0, whichever one, to 1 here. Then I like this, and like this is where I want it to start, right? Since this is where I want it to start based on the kind of story I want to tell with this now. This is where I want it to start. Then I can now come here, hit this. Look, I'm on data or object property, and I have my cam control, not this one, no, not main cam control, but my cam control, and I rotated it on the x-axis. So I click here. Once I click this, I register it, then come to something like this. So like let's say 200 or 2. Let's just try this. Okay, let's try 200. Yeah, close to 200. I wanted to be exact 200. Close to 200. Then close to 200. Then bring it back this way. Then bring it to 0 like this, facing like this. Then I need to hit, once the value is here now and it has been changed, then I need to now register it again and say register this property. So once I register both property, then once I scroll through, it will interpolate through both of them. So with this now, once I hit play, this is what I get. So it animates. So the camera you know, orbit or pan from up to down this way. So this is what I get. But while this is going on, I can also come click on my camera. Remember, for the camera, we need to Y position. So for the position here on the Y position, so I can have it, zoom out the more, zoom out to something like this. Yeah, to something like this. Then register it. Now I love this. I want it to interpolate. That means I need to register. I have one keyframe first that I have registered. Then come to somewhere like this. Then after this finishes, I need it to continuously, zoom into the scene. Yeah, to something like 450. It continue to zoom in. So continue to zoom in. This is okay. Then once I need to just zoom in. So now I can register this, click on this to register this, and now it can interpolate. So I've registered the last one, I registered the first one, so it can now interpolate, can play. It just interpolates both. So you can see those, the two, more of the two movements are kind of, mixed up together and give it much more, make it more visually interesting. So this is what we have. But right now, once it's here, I want it to, for the eye level, right? I want it to also contain this our frame here. So that means, we did not touch this at all. We didn't animate this at all, so it won't be an issue. So I can afford to still raise this up, yes, this way, so it becomes, we have this in place. So this is what we will now have. Yeah, then something that I noticed that once, because the movements, you see, like there's a movement coming in, something is coming in, then this starts moving. But I need it. I think it will make more sense for this to the camera angle to settle for us. Then something by this time. That is when the first one here should move, so that it shouldn't, because we now have too many things moving, like, and our eyes is a bit, you know, thinking, where should I concentrate? For now, we are following it, panning and all of that. So somewhere here, I think around 200, that is when this should now move. So that's when that should now move. So I can have this selected, jump. Once I have my mouse here in the outliner, I can hit either the period key either in the numpad or in the normal one. Then I come here, look for this. You can see the animation here. So I can come here, select all of these and drag it back. You know what? Let's even have it somewhere like this. So it's when I get here, the first one moves here. It moves here. Then it stays. This other one stays before the second one moves. Yeah. So this is what we have. It pans this way. Then to a large extent, as I see, I can see some empty dead space here that is just not useful. So if that's since that's the case, I need to come here, select this now. I can well let me be in front view, then drag this way, then I can move everything this way. So at least there'll be more room to focus on more interesting things than that dead space that was there before. So with this now we have pans. I think this zooming in is a bit too much. Just like a bit fast, so I can just take this way. Yeah, so this is what we have now, and just yeah, just a simple camera move right in the scene. Then I can yes for this one now I can actually while all of this is going on right. Then I can rotate it on the Z axis, something like this. But somewhat I'm feeling like we should for this other rotation right it should be in another cut actually that we can have another cut a different cut or but let's try and let's try and tie it into this scene. um, Take this back to zero, taking back this back to zero. So let's just try and tie, let's see how that would go. So at this time is on zero, then somewhere here we can pan a bit on the Z axis. So right now I don't know if I should go this way or this. Okay. You know what? Yeah, just a tiny bit this way, no, but not too much. Something like this. Mm, but that may not be noticeable. Okay. So something like this. Then hit to mark this, register this. So with this now we can have some more visual interest. But sometimes, like for this other one of panning this way, sometimes I, you know what, I don't like, I just need this, once it's coming, I just need to focus on one thing rather than this whole pan this way. You know what, let's just remove it. So once I'm back here now, you can come here. So I just right click on this, clear keyframes. So I clear them and make sure I'm on zero. So I just need it once it pans this way, you just need to focus straight rather than. So that's for that. Then yeah, another thing I can do that I do sometimes is that I can come here, select this camera, right? Have it once I have it selected, I right click, then I say duplicate collection. Then so I have camera 001. So I can name this cam, maybe rotate, right? Then to jump into this one now, once you have this selected, okay, just need to click here to be sure that this is the one selected. Then that means for now, okay, I think I like the position where this thing is now. So I can come here, delete all this keyframe that is here now. Just so since I have them selected, and just delete all of them selected and delete. Then come to the one for the camera, also select and delete. So for this, you can give it a different, especially for the one of that panning, right? Let's say for this now. And mind you, since we have two cameras now, right? I'm seeing through this. Now, how do I ensure that I'm seeing through? I'm clicking on this. Once I click here and I've hit my numpad 0 here, now I've come out of camera mode. So once I hit numpad 0 again, I'm in camera mode. So I'm seeing through this and I'm sure that this is clicked. Because if not, you know what, let me make some adjustments in this one. So once I'm here, I have my main camera control selected, main camera control selected. And remember, it is Y is better based on what we have here. You're supposed to rotate it on Z. So you can come here, rotate it this way. Maybe yes, at the beginning, maybe we'll start from somewhere like this. Yeah, somewhere like this. Right. Then later we'll now rotate to this. Yeah, so just a simple cam move also. Just simple. So we'll start from somewhere like this. Right. So now this is different. So once you click this, you know that you are seeing through it. If you want to jump to this other one, you click here. You also click here to jump to this other one. So this is the camera for this. So if you want to see through this other one, if you want to activate this one, and you click on this. So that's like how sometimes I work with two cameras. There are more other ways to go at this thing, but these are like the more simple way to where that I tend to approach all of this. So with this, I have this selected now. I can come to the data now. So let's say I want this to the, my the beginning of the scene, this particular one now to start here. So I click on this to register this. Oh, I needed to be at the beginning here. So I can drag this down here. Then when I get to somewhere here, let's say 500, then we can pan. So it will be very gentle. To be a very gentle pan. Something like this. Then this is looking like this. Then I need to register it. Mark this to register it. Then once I play back, this is what I have. I think this is okay. Maybe not. I wanted to say maybe it's going too slow. But if you find it's going too slow, it's not a matter of selecting this last one and moving it, closer. Then I can also do something of, you know, for my camera here now. Once I have this camera here selected, I can, move it back this way so that I can capture more data in the scene. So I only just move this back. I didn't animate it at all. So the animation is happening on this now. So I have more data captured this way. Yeah, so that's another. So that means we need to render this twice. So for the first one, we need to have this selected. So this is the one I want to render out first. So once I have this selected, to render out, come to this come to this output. That's this printer icon. Once you have this selected, I usually like to do 30 frames. More so now that I'm doing what's it called? We want to render as MP4, so it makes more sense what to do. So and here, yeah, there was a time I was struggling with this. I realized that this might start and end frame. Like here now should correspond with what you have here. This is my play. See, it ends here, right? This should correspond with here. So this is to once. So this is 20. So it corresponds with what I have here. So this start frame at frame 1 to end at 620. So this is it. This should correspond with what you have here. I just by the then here is to select where you want your, because you want to render it as, you want to export it now. Render and export is the same word. I want to export it as MP4. So here you need to now choose the destination where that should go. But okay, this is my this, and then you need to create a like a folder. Create a new folder. Click create folder. Name it render. Then hit enter. Then enter again. So I can name this class 4 stylized environment. Right. Take 1. Stylized environment take 1, or whatever name you want to give it. Then hit accept. Then in here, this is JPEG for now, but we want MP4. So to get MP4, select this FFmpeg. Once you have this selected, come to encoding, come here to MP4, set this to MP4, and every other setting, I think every other setting is okay. Then to render, you come to render tab here, but before then, no, let me just save this, Ctrl S. Then come to render. To render, you hit render animation, but always try to practice be where you just check your scene, like you can scrub through, you know, you know how this place here is quite different from something like this, right? So just try to do a check of your render out an image first, to just do it a double check to ensure that what you're seeing now, right, is close to what you will get when you hit render image, because sometimes there are some hidden layers. For instance, now once you look at here, you can see there is like a glass thing happening here, whereas we don't find it in our preview, but in this our render is there. So I'm sure there is a layer that is not, that is made invisible. Okay, let me click here, then I hover my mouse here, period key to jump here. Now this is it. You can see this was made invisible for the preview, but the render is still there. So these are some things that, some hidden layers you hid in preview, but you didn't, like once I click this now, it won't affect again. Once I click, so it's both hidden here and hidden for render, both preview and render. So once I come back now and I render image, I think you see that spot is taken care of. It's no longer there. Now you can see there are many things like this could have been better. This rendering could have been better, but I don't want to, overload you people with too much of information. The UV mapping here could have been better, but so with this done now, you can also go and you can come here, also save this your save. You can save your tests. You can call it tests. What's happening? You can call this test. then hit save as. So at least you can save that image now, the one we just use for test. So you can scrub to something like this, then test this again, render, render image. Yeah, I think this is not superb though, but at least it's something, at least for an EV rendering, it's okay. So once I'm good with that now, I can now come here again to this, then hit render animation. Now it will start rendering out the animation. So while that is going on, it's rendering. Once that is done, I can always come back here, you know, and select this. Right now we have this other one selected, right? Then I have this one now selected and render it out again. So it will be two different animation. So that's just how to render out your once it's done, we'll just play it to see what we have. Oh, I think it's 98% now. So once it's done, we play it, just pause the video and it's done rendering our first take. Well, however, I just learned very interesting thing now. You know, why I hit render that time when I after hitting render then and the rendering was going on, I came here to demonstrate to you, again just to reiterate how to switch to this camera and is in the particular camera you have that it will render out. Once you have that camera selected and you can once you hit render it renders out that. So I was thinking since this was the camera I have, this particular one, right? No, not this one. This is the first one I want. This is my first take, my take, right? See, I was thinking since I have hit render, right, it has registered it. So whatever I do next, it shouldn't affect the render that is already going on, which is how in After Effects, media encoder in After Effects, Adobe Suite works. Once you hit render, whatever you're doing shouldn't affect the rendering. But I just realized that that is not the way it is in Blender because I changed it from here. This is major one, but I changed it to this. I just realized that that's not how Blender works. That you can see it started playing. It was rendering this particular take, then it went to this my take two. That's meant this is meant to be my take two. It just went to this my take two straight, and well, I just learned that now. So I'm coming back to this now. But interesting now, if I hit render now, it will write. If I just come here and hit render, it will come here and rewrite what I have saved here already. So the first thing I need to do, I also need to still come back here in my output or in my render, come here, then come here, change this now, right? But if I just wanted to overwrite it, then there's no problem. But I may need to give it take 1001 or take 1B, whichever. So with this now, so this is how, let's say, this is the method I will do it when I want to come to this one proper, to this particular take rather, when I want to come to this particular take, this is my take one. This is my take one, right? When I want to come to this, I also need to come back here. Now I explain this because I won't have to do this again. So I also need to come back to this output, ensure you give it another name before you now come to hit render, and by then you've also activated the particular camera that you want. So that's some extra information I just wanted to add to this.